Mhm. You can't see anything. My plate. I'm cutting onions. I'm going to have to figure out how to set it up. I think what I'm going to do, because that microwave is broken, I'm going to set up the camera so it can watch me cutting and chopping and stuff. So welcome back to Now TV Canada, here in my Gatineau humble home. I am your host, and this is Now TV at I Am Just 10 YouTube channel, also known as Superwoman, because I am the creator of the character, which everybody's been wondering since the inception of Superman, who she is, where she's been, what she's been up to, what's going on, and in what way is she related to Superman, and so on. And I have all of these answers. I would like to do my Superwoman story at some point if I can get this situation with the Supergirl trilogy that was inspired by all of the original characters from the original Supergirl movie with Helen Slater and Faye Dunaway, where you saw Christopher Reeve's Superman in a poster in the background of the wall when Helen Slater was making her version, and like, oh, he couldn't come, he's busy, doing something else somewhere else, saving the world. And she came to Earth to get her Omega Hedron back. So my work has combined those characters in my trilogy, which was finished in 2016. And I had done something very nice because Lex Luthor, the original, Gene Hackman, was still alive. And there was still time for him to help proofread and edit that material to have his ink marks and thumb of approval on it. But I had written Michael Rosenbaum's Lex Luthor. Well, I just wrote Michael Rosenbaum into the trilogy playing a young Lex Luthor of the original Lex Luthor, Gene Hackman, who was experimenting with CoQ10, which at the time I wrote the script was still fairly new product on dealing with aging and wrinkles and reversing damage to our bodies, taking care of yourself. And so the comedy in the story, the joke about it was that Lex Luthor had done too much CoQ10, had taken too much of the stuff, had put too much cream on his face, and all the other CoQ10 items that were just beginning to become available, which he ordered like truckloads of. And so there are these scenes throughout the story where he gets too young looking and he needs a person to play his younger Lex Luthor self. And I used Michael Rosenbaum for that. So there's lots of good moments in this work I don't need to change much of. And of course, the Donald Trump fiasco, where if Donald Trump had actually not banned himself from receiving the movie, he could have invested in the movie, stayed himself, and been in the movie, helped produce the movie, and gotten other answers that he was looking for business-wise about, hydro expenses and water and food and other things that he's now in the White House still trying to figure out the answer to. I have come to learn quickly with politicians and politics. Not only is it very shallow and phony and just not organized well. Like, I've learned that the leaders don't actually have control. They don't actually have the last say or the determination because they're not being informed. They're not being told the information they need to know. Donald Trump doesn't know anything about the Highway of Tears in Canada. No president in the United States, and all the time that the Highway of Tears murders were happening, and all of the current serial killers that still kill in Canada that have been happening even in the last decade, and all the continued disappearances and domestic violence. None of that has hit the table of the White House, United Nations. There's been no request or plead for help in regards to any of that stuff. So when you write comedy or love stories and movies and you go to the movies, part of that is about escaping, right? You want to have a good time and forget about real life, real pain and suffering for a while. But it's pretty hard to do that when people are constantly promoting all this negativity or making bad things and telling people that it's good and that they should watch it. If you're seeing violence all the time, it'll take its toll on you. It'll create an environment where you will become what you know and you will do what you see and hear. And so Canada's had a lot of that. So it's repeating the cycle. Um, and Donald can't do anything with the trilogy and being himself in the movie or meeting Superwoman or giving her the key to Washington or the entire United States or whatever. Can't look on the binoculars from the balcony, see Superman at the gate smiling at him and telling the security, hey, don't just stand there, let her in. Because nobody who gets the mail to the White House will actually read the mail that's relevant and go, hey, sir, you need to see this, Mr. President. Like Obama was in office for two full terms, 8 years. And he also was never given the 2 Highway of Tears t-shirts I sent for him and his wife when the Highway of Tears website was still running. And so it's very phony. It's very fake. There are no presidents today that are actually in charge of anything. They have no actual final say. They don't really know what's going on. So they can't really make any determinations of things and what to do. And so this is no different with Donald in office. So even if he wanted to do more, he can't. And so the best I can do is keep making my videos and keep telling the truth on my channel and sharing what I want to share. On that note, the last video I made, I shared what I do daily in my prayers, right? Today in the Word. I ended with a Today in the Word, and this last week they're sort of focusing on Habakkuk. I wanted to read today's because it's still in Habakkuk, and it's about Habakkuk 3. And the last thing at the end of that last video I made was the poem that was written in the special English Living Bible translation, which most people, unless they're into poetry like Shakespeare kind of stuff, you're not going to understand much, or unless you study scriptures and Bibles of various kinds of English. So I thought I would do this version, which is way more understandable for just the mainstream people, and share my thoughts here with that, and helping people understand more around what is happening in the world today, what's happening now TV, future productions, right? If you want a future, come work for me, send me a resume. If you know French, if you know about the little restaurant up on Boulevard De Gappe, if you have a car and drive, if you're really good bilingually, send me a resume. If you're in the arts and entertainment industry, if you love food, get in touch with me. So today's today in the Word is called Victorious Might, Wrath and Mercy. This whole section is about a study in Jonah, Nahum, and Habakkuk. So there's a famous line in C.S. Lewis's children's classic, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Susan asks Mr. Beaver if Aslan, the great lion, is safe. Mr. Beaver responds, who said anything about safe? Of course he isn't safe, but he's good. He's the king, I tell you. Today's passage reminds us that the Lord isn't safe. If by safe we mean cute, cuddly, and powerless, but he most certainly is good, right? So God has the ability to do both good and bad because he is almighty and powerful. So he can do whatever he needs to do, whatever's necessary to make his plans happen. And sometimes people don't understand that, and they feel like it's bad in the sense of feeling personally attacked by it. And I absolutely know what that feels like, even though I am determined to understand the good God was not specifically trying to do things that make me feel like it was him. And that's what the devil likes to do all of the time, right? Make you feel like you're guilty, bad, done something wrong when you're not actually doing anything. That's why it's important to stick to scripture. But the point is, art imitates life. You write what you know, right? You become what you know. They say if you don't become your parents, you marry your parents. Now I'm a creator. So I create. I have a wonderful imagination. I started watching movies at 2. I have lots of books. I listen to audio stuff, lots of music, including movie soundtracks. but I can recognize the movie soundtrack listening to it pretty quickly, and also classical music. So you can compare all of that stuff to this stuff here. Verses 8 to 10 describe God's creation of the world in a way that depicts God as a warrior. The prophet asks if the Lord was angry with the rivers. I read that in the poem in 3. And whether his wrath was against the streams. In verse 8, he says that the Lord uncovered your bow, you called for many arrows. You split the earth with rivers, the mountains saw you and writhed. After describing the warrior, God's creation of the world, Habakkuk transitions to describe God's power on his people's behalf. The creator, who is not to be trifled with, came out to deliver your people, to save your anointed one. In doing so, the Lord crushed the leader of the land of wickedness and stripped him from head to foot. When it seemed that all was lost and the enemy nation was going to destroy God's people, Jehovah trampled the sea with the horses, right? Churning the great waters. Habakkuk may very well have been asking the same question. Susan asked while he communed with the creator of all things. Is this God safe? Well, of course he isn't. If we're honest, we'll admit that this description of the Lord is terrifying. However, we also know that God is good, that he does rescue his people from injustice and oppression, and he does not allow evil and wickedness to continue forever. So at the end, it goes deeper and says, how does this passage make you feel about the God you worship? Do you trust that he is good and faithful, even if terrifyingly powerful? That's the part I like to push, explain to people, is that God is powerful. He's almighty, right? If you don't fear God, you have no common sense. Just like poisonous snakes and spiders, right? You have to know when you see them, don't hang out, don't get closer, go away, but be obedient, do things righteously and well in a way where God is not going to look upon you in a judgmental, wrathful way where you can't get out of the penance, or somebody who's living their whole life cursed with evil in their house and it will never leave, right? Be determined not to be in that situation. And then at that point, you don't have to worry about that part of God and his power, because it's not going to affect you that way. Now at the end, it just says, do you trust that he is good and faithful, even if terrifyingly powerful? The prayer goes like this, Pray with us. Almighty Creator, help us to see both your power and your goodness. Strengthen our faith in you as a mighty deliverer, even when we at times do not understand your ways. May we rest in your goodness and love. Amen. And that's where I'm at, right? Not understanding his goodness and ways. So I'm here in Gatineau, not knowing how my income is going to work out with jobs and stuff on short notice. I have the ability to teach swimming. So if you want swimming lessons, you can contact me. I'm also really good at food. And that's the point of today's video, and asking for resumes. And everybody saw me show the $1 pop-up restaurant. Somehow I'm going to take the food I cook here. I'm going to take it to the parking lot at the pop-up restaurant that's been sitting there abandoned for years at De la Gappe. I'm going to try to sit there with a table and food, and I'm sell it, give it to people, and have a jar where people can donate to help me raise the funds I need to renovate the place. And anybody that has any information on how I can buy it for $1 and make it a pop-up restaurant. I have plans for it that are beautiful. I want to have it so that certain days, certain professionals from certain really good places like Baton Rouge, which I love, that restaurant and its menu is just phenomenal. There are places that I can have people come showcase their style of cooking and what they make on certain days where I don't cook that, or I don't cook it that well and don't have the time because I'm not going to be here all the time. So if people want to enjoy an outdoor restaurant experience, parking, drive-in kind of family quaint experience, they can go there for that stuff on those days with those chefs. So that's just one aspect. Two, I want to know more about the history of that traditional standalone restaurant in the history of Gatineau to make sure I keep stuff on the menu that it always served there, and I don't know what that stuff was. And then, of course, to make my own stuff and present that stuff that I can teach others to make that they can sell to people if I'm not there cooking it. I'm not saying that it'll have a set stable amount of hours or days. That's the whole point of pop-up. It's just when you're ready, prepared, planned, and there's advertisement. But the first step is buying it for $1. And I need somebody whose French is stronger than mine. Oui, je parle français, but I don't speak it fast. And it takes me a little bit of time to comprehend what's being said around me because I've been out of French immersion for quite some time. But I will continue to practice to retain my skills. And down the road, things will be fine. But as for licensing and registering businesses and things, I need someone that can help me with all that kind of stuff. So today, what I'm doing right now, unfortunately, I can't have the camera always watching the whole time. I am going to be cutting the garlic next, and then some mushrooms. And I'm going to take a bunch of canned stuff that I already have from a really good company, Stag Chili. Thank you, Stag Chili. It's already a garden medley. It's already got beans in there. And then I'm going to put in a can of tomato paste to thicken it up. And then I'm going to mix it with an actual Campbell's. Thank you, Campbell's chunky chili home style stuff. I'm going to try to make my roasting pan big amount. And then I'm going to add like a medley of Green Giant. I love Green Giant. I was raised Green Giant. My grandma raised me Green Giant. She gave me the best sweet peas. Ho, ho, ho. Green Giant. Thank you, Green Giant. Garden medley. So it's not going to be your typical chili. And I'm probably going to add in an actual can of Heinz original beans and tomato sauce because I don't have diced tomatoes. I don't feel like doing that. I don't want to make just an ordinary hamburger tomato soup, tomato paste version. I want to have a little more fun and I want to create a larger volume. And then I'm going to add in some of the regular ground beef and strain it all to make sure that there's less grease in there. And then I'll add a bunch of spices, delicious spices, and then top it all up. So yeah, it's kind of funny because I'm using all these big name products, like even Primo. Thank you, Primo, tomato paste. So that's the kind of cook I am. I'm good enough where I can actually use name brand stuff and know what I'm doing with that. So I will record in segments of my work. Now, unfortunately, the yeast, Fleischmann's. I love Fleischmann's. Thank you, Fleischmann's. I love Fleischmann's. You could send me a lifetime supply and trust me, I will spend my life using Fleischmann's yeast. This is Quick Rise, and the expiry date shows December 3rd, 2024, and I've tried twice, 2 different bowls and 2 different variations, and I've wasted the sugar and the oil. It's not working, and I have a cracked open egg. So I don't have that yeast. I might have to take a hike up to the corner store and just buy the little string of packages and throw all of those into a bowl so I don't waste my egg. To make a batch, like a dozen homemade buns to get it started. I'm still determined to try to find somebody to help me drive over to Boulevard De la Gappe to where the restaurant is and set up there in the shade under the tent and see if I can start getting people to go, hey, this is good. Your food is good. And give a testimony and say, yes, this opening up again would be wonderful after all that work the city's done to fix up the whole boulevard. It's beautiful. So why not get the restaurant going? And I'm definitely the girl for that. So that's my dream. That's my wish. That is my love and support from all of you that I'm looking for. So if you know anything about the restaurant, the people who owned it, and how to get a hold of people in order to get that $1 sale going, that would be great. Go follow Tia Weston and her $1 house channel as well. that's what inspired me. Like, if she can do that there, I can do it here. And I love Gatineau, Quebec. This place is awesome. The people here are awesome. It's one of the safest places where you can enjoy being outside, eating ice cream on a bench or in the parking lot, eating food with your family. And so we need to revitalize that kind of slow paced summertime, let's chill and relax and enjoy ourselves kind of thing. I know it's kind of a small shack, but based on the pop-up regime and schedule, it might just be enough for this time and this point. I have other places like this, ideas in different places. Where down the road, if this one works, we can add on. I can do more. But for now, I will go and get all of this started, and then people can see what it looks like when it's all in the pot. I've only got one pan to work with to get it all started with. So I'm going to go do that and figure out how I can have my camera set up there. I just wanted to share some scripture, some gospel, some daily prayer with all of you, and, wish you all well and stay strong, stay close to the Lord, stay faithful, and, go to church, pray, and come back for more, and subscribe, follow. And you can buy copies of my movie work. The website there shows the poetry books, the ability to contact me for buying a copy of the Smallville Reunion movie book 1, and pre-ordering copies of the Supergirl movie book 1, because there's 3 in that set, and You've Got Mail too, and so on. So thank you for watching this video. I do want to make another one. It's a little bit longer, that continues to share more information that I know I am determined to share, the Talmage information from this book, and share more scriptures from the Bibles I've studied. And hopefully that will help people figure out that maybe I do know a little bit that's worth knowing me, in order to know. But just that you can see that I'm good people, and I have good intentions for my relationship with all of you in this community, in this town, and look forward to becoming friends with people, getting to know people, working with people, including building another statue, a beautiful wife to go with the woodcutter with the axe, sitting on his lunch break, waiting for his lunch to be delivered, aka food from the pop-up restaurant. So that's it. Me signing off, Superwoman from Now TV Canada here in Gatineau, Quebec. Just keep coming back for more of what's coming with what I'm cooking today. And I will take a little walk to go try and fix my Fleischmann's yeast. I'll do the traditional yeast because I have never been a fan of quick rise. I'm not that good at it. And then I will get the buns done as well, because that's why I keep the curtains closed. So I do it when it's cool and shady. And I think the temperatures have dropped enough in the city that I can do that, thanks to the rain and a little bit of wind we've had recently. So I'm determined to make this dream come true with all of your help. Thank you. Peace out. Superwoman signing out. Bye.